Carvana's so easy. Just a click, and we've got ourselves a car. See?
So many cars. That's a click-tastic inventory.
And check out the financing options. Payments to fit our budget. I mean, that's...
Clickonomics 101.
Delivery to our door?
Just a hop, skip, and a click away.
And bought.
No better feeling than when everything just clicks. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
Experience a membership that backs your business journey with American Express Business Platinum. When you pay with membership rewards points for all or part of an eligible flight booked with a qualifying airline through Amex Travel, you can get 35% of those points back, up to 1 million points back per calendar year. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
What is natural? When you read natural flavors on a label, most people don't realize it's often not real food at all. Those hidden ingredients quietly work against how your body feels and functions over time. That's why Just Ingredients uses only real food ingredients, so you know exactly what you're putting in your body. Stop guessing. Start knowing at justingredients.us.
I'm Richard Serrett. Join me on Strange Planet for in-depth conversations with the world's top paranormal investigators, alien abductees, Bigfoot trackers, monster hunters, time travelers, and more.
The handler one day told her this whole thing about how they've been terraforming on Mars and they're building a colony and they're recruiting specific people of specific bloodlines and specific talents and skill sets to go onto the planet.
On Richard Serrett's Strange Planet, we're redefining reality. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
I was so excited when our guy Tip or Not put an IG story up of like the bat signal for Tip or Not once the Detroit Malice at the Palace, but in Charlotte happened. I was so excited because I wanted to see what his breakdown would give us, what revelations he would have.
Zach called it the rectum at the spectrum.
I like that.
Back yo head up. Immediately after the hand to the face, Miles bridges into the chest of Duran, followed by a swing from Diabate. Duran pretty much immediately walks away, like, whatever, man. However, Diabate, not done. He throws down one coach, another one bites the dust, Musa making his way to Duran, and he takes a swipe at him. Duran, with a clean sidestep, avoids the contact. You want more? I'd stop. You won't make it back. Konka, Nipple and company doing their best to carry Diabate away. Meanwhile, Miles Bridges single coverage on the outside. He beats his man off the line, takes a swing at Duran. He swings back. Take that. You take that. Uh-oh. Isaiah Stewart has entered the chat. Beef Stew with the stutter step. Bridges goes under, goes for the takedown. It doesn't work. Beef Stew, bah, 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 then grabs a fistful of Bridges' hair.
What's funny, to me at least, is I noticed the same exact thing that he noticed, which is Mark Lindsay, the NBA official, in the corner being alerted that there's another fight going on.
This fan in orange telling Mark Lindsay, hey man, I think there might be something going on over there. Oh man. All right. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm.
And he's running, and I was cracking up because the other thing that happens in this video, because I'm so nerding out on NBA referees, is there is an official in this fracas that did nothing, arms crossed, and watched the whole thing go down. Didn't try to stop anything.
Which official was it?
And I thought, it's got to be a lower level official because Mark Lindsay's like a crew chief.
Yeah.
Almost every time that he's out there, he's the crew chief. So it's got to be some, new referee. And then I looked closer, and he kind of looks like me. And I was like, wait, it's not Jason Goebel because he was doing a Utah game the other night, or at Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It was John Goebel.
It's always a Goebel.
And he was the crew chief. And I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, Goebel is the crew chief.
He's the crew chief. Mark Lindsay was the number 2. And so they had 2 big-time referees in this game, one of which was trying to peacemaker this thing. Hey, we got to put out these fires.
And that's not the John Cena peacemaker. That's someone trying to bring peace.
Yeah.
To the situation.
Little John Cena.
John Goebel was having none of it. He was like, I am just chilling over here. I see that Isaiah Stewart's on that team and Jalen Duran's on this team. Like, I am not getting in the middle of this at all. I mean, I wondered, do referees have a policy on trying to break up fights, or do you think because they operated very differently. One referee wanted to squash this and stop it, and the other was just like, hey, let it happen. I am not going to be able to stop this.
Yeah, I think perhaps the reputations of the parties involved made it so like, hey, man, I'm not touching this at all. Because you could see they're throwing their own coaches out of the way, tossing them. By the way, I don't know if you saw the video of Isaiah Stewart walking back down the tunnel to the locker room. And they captured him saying,
You're not expecting him to stay on the bench. You know, I'm pretty slick. Fuck, I was drafted in Detroit.
fuck, you think they drafted me for, man?
I got drafted to Detroit for this very reason. Yeah.
For this very reason. And it really changes the math now of any sort of Isaiah Stewart conflict, because it ceases to be about a guy who's either acting tough or a guy who maybe has a bad temper. No. This is a guy who thinks my purpose here is exactly for this. It's kind of like James Johnson, who I believe also that's his purpose. But James Johnson recognizes I have other parts of my job. And I don't think Isaiah Stewart recognizes, because he's a good player, good rebounder, because you're a tough defender. You're improving perimeter jump. Like, no. I'm here to bust motherfuckers' heads if they fuck with my guys.
That's what made last week's altercation with Jonas Valanciunas so confusing, is that he didn't do his identity. He didn't act the way that you thought he was going to act.
And that's my favorite part of the Tipper video, cutting Duncan Robinson from 6 days earlier.
Look at the growth.
Talking to Isaiah Stewart, and then fast forward to right now.
Well, so much for that.
Duncan Robinson looks so defeated. You know, some people jump to, Duncan Robinson doesn't want any of that smoke, kind of like what Gobo's on. No, that's not what's happening here. What's happening is he's like, I can't believe this shit is happening, man.
Just one of those days.
Yes, one of those days indeed.
We talked about this with Jade, our producer, who used to do this conceit called like the 17 things you missed for ESPN. And it was people in the crowd or bystanders or referees or things off the normal lens of what you would think is what everyone's paying attention to.
Of a big moment. It's always of a big moment. So like the Kawhi Leonard game winner in the playoffs against the Sixers, stuff like that.
Little details. Tipper does a great job of identifying those details, especially that courtside guy who was trying to get Mark Lindsay's attention. Like, yo, there's another thing over there. Get over there.
Yeah.
The other thing that I loved was Isaiah Stewart had his bandages falling, his knee bandages falling.
His towels, yeah.
Like the mummy.
Like the mummy, exactly. And he didn't care. He was just like, I'm going in here. It was very dramatic. It had all the elements. And I actually, can I say this out loud?
Yes.
Can you?
I actually think this might be, and I don't think I'm condoning violence. I'm not doing that.
Yep.
But I think this fight might be good from a marketing standpoint with the NBA, because these guys actually care about their teams. This stuff matters.
Okay, Joe Mazzulla. You remember Joe Mazzulla came out with that one last year, was it?
The biggest thing that we rob people of from an entertainment standpoint is you can't fight anymore. We should just bring back, like, fighting. I mean, you want to talk about robbing the league of entertainment. What's more entertaining than a little scuffle?
I want it to be a blood sport.
I like watching them bleed on the court. I think it's important.
Amin, Maze, I heard Miles Bridges talk about this Tuesday at practice. He said, nobody's going to come into our arena and do that. Mush my guy's face in our arena.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking, how many guys are like Miles Bridges that have been with one team for the last, 6, 7, 8, 9 years?
Not many.
Well, we went through his draft class and established that everyone from his year has been traded in the first round.
We're missing this. We're missing guys who are on their corner of their turf being like, we don't let guys come in here and do this on our block.
To be fair, guys have been doing this on their block for years with no problems. But it's because the Hornets are finally winning and they're finally good. Now there's a sense of pride. And I'm with you. I like that.
I wanted to do this. 14 players in the NBA who have been with the same team since 2018, 2019. Can you name 1, 2, 3, 4 players who are not all-stars?
Oh.
So Miles Bridges is one of them.
Okay. This is a good one.
So these are the Udonis Haslems of the world, right? Who have been with the same team but didn't actually get to an all-star game.
Have never been an all-star or just not all-stars this year?
Never or currently. So Jamal Murray's off the list.
Okay.
3 others.
Shit.
2018, 2019.
Since 2018, I'm going through it in my brain. I start always in the Atlantic Division. Does Boston have anybody? I'm going to say no, because I don't think Peyton Pritchard has been around since 2018.
Yeah, Pritchard's just short.
He's too young. Toronto, almost everybody's out because it had so much turnover. New York, no, they've had a lot of turnover.
Slow down.
Mitchell Robinson.
There
you go. That's one. Okay. Philly. Joel Embiid has been an all-star, so he doesn't count. Brooklyn. Brooklyn. Nobody on Brooklyn. Done with the Atlantic Division. Southeast Division. Washington, no. Miami?
Bam has been there, but he's been an all-star.
Bam and Tyler Hero's probably just too young.
Tyler Hero's 2019.
Both of those guys have been all-stars, so that's out.
Atlanta is a no. We got Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando. Jonathan Isaac.
Bingo. Wow, you're good at this, man.
It's another guy, so...
The player that I'm thinking of, I had to look up because I was like, oh, actually, I think he did play for another team before 2018. And that is correct. He played 5 games with Boston in 2015. And then he has been with this team ever since.
Boston?
5 games?
Honestly, I did not realize that he had played with Boston. He's a second-round pick in the 2014 draft.
That's not going to narrow it down at all.
Canadian.
Levon Kendall?
Played at Stanford for 4 years. And he's been with this team for a long time.
Stanford guys in 2014. Post Landry Fields. And he's a Canadian.
You're ridiculous, Tom.
I don't know. I'm tapping out.
Played 700 games in the NBA over 12 years.
He's in Dallas. I mean.
Dwight Powell played for the Celtics?
I know.
Dwight Powell played for the Celtics?
You look at the top of his basketball reference and there's a green 12 jersey.
I thought he was a math FFFFL for life.
I know.
Drafted by the Hornets, traded with Brendan Haywood to the Cavs for Scottie Hobson.
Jesus.
Joined the Cavs Summer League. Then was traded with John Lucas III, Eric Murphy, Malcolm Thomas, and 2 second-round picks to Boston in exchange for Keith Bogans.
That was a Keith Bogans phantom contract. One of the last of those to ever exist.
And then was traded with Rondo to Dallas.
Yeah.
What a journey before he even became a Mav for life.
He had a whole ass NBA life.
My assignment. Uncover why the association inspires more conspiracy theories in volume and salience than any other U.S. sport.
You've heard of the Illuminati.
The truth is out there, but so are lies.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
The NBA has always been controlled by about 8 people.
Denial is the most predictable of all human responses.
If you're only using 10% of your brain, you don't even know that you're using 10% of your brain.
The NBA Illuminati.
If coincidences are just coincidences, why do they feel so contrived?
The Illuminati.
But you start to follow the money, and you don't know where the f*** it's going to take you.
It is unspoken. They have influence among other players.
The NBA Illuminati.
I don't have time for your convenient ignorance.
Maybe I'm a conspiracist now as well.
That's all it took. Oh, we got books, we got schools. You saw a video on YouTube.
My eyes, sir. You've never used them before.
We are the Basketball Illuminati.
This is Basketball Illuminati. I am Tom Haberstroh, and as always, I am joined by the 5-star Illuminati generals Amin Elhassan and producer Anthony Mays.
What's up, Illumination? Thank you for keeping your third eye open. As always, you can support us at patreon.com/countthedings. That'll get you ad-free episodes and help us continue to produce the show. Also, check out our YouTube page at Basketball Illuminati. You can watch our Truth Teller interviews and Do You Believe episodes there. Please subscribe and continue to show your support. Thank you.
We've got Jake Fischer joining us later in the program to go through the trade deadline. Multi-time truth teller joining the program from Bleacher Report, Steinline.com. It has a great super stack, as I like to call it, with Mark Stein. You'll be joining us to go through all of that stuff after he got back from his meditation class. So his third eye is going to be wide open with us here on the program. But first...
Listening to The Agenda with Amin Elhassan and Tom Haberstroh.
I didn't even unveil my theory.
What's your theory?
My theory about the Hornets. Everyone's like, oh, the Hornets, wow, what's happened? Why are they playing so well?
Okay.
My theory is Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a winner, man. That motherfucker's a winner. I'm telling you, he rubs people the wrong way.
He's the Shane Battier of...
Closer to a Draymond level.
That's what he wants.
I was thinking about it the other day. I was watching him play, and He played well. I guess it was against Atlanta. He played well. How much does this coincide, this success? And looking at it, he's played 13 games, and they've lost 4 of them.
Hey, man. Shout out to Providence Day High School here in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is actually where Shane Battier's son is playing, Zeke Battier, who's now getting recruited.
Zeke Battier.
All roads lead to Charlotte, by the way. They are choosing not to tank. They're trying to win as many games as possible. Probably guessed before the season that they would be in this group of teams that would be trying to play for lottery balls, but Con Knippel's been too good for that.
Yeah.
He's the actual legit good NBA player, which is almost unheard of that a rookie is actually one of the best 50 guys in the league right out the box. LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller are finally healthy, playing well. Moussa Diabate has been an awesome center for them. Grant Williams is back. They're not tanking.
Well, not anymore.
But everybody else seems to be tanking. I mean, Milwaukee Bucks, it's still wishy-washy whether Giannis is going to be playing. They just added Cam Thomas, which, depending on how you look at things, that is also a profile of a tanking team. They still have every incentive to tank. They just can't get the number 1 pick because their deal with Atlanta was that New Orleans gets the better of the Milwaukee or New Orleans pick, and then the least favorable of that goes to Milwaukee. So if New Orleans ends up, quote-unquote, winning the lottery and it goes to Atlanta, and Milwaukee jumps up to number 2, Milwaukee's still going to get the number 2 pick, so they have an incentive to tank. You have Memphis, who just traded Jaren Jackson Jr., and still John Morant, who knows if he's going to come back and play. Washington, Utah, Brooklyn, Indiana Pacers, they're trading for Zubats, but he hasn't shown up yet or hasn't played yet. I mean, the NBA world right now is talking about Tankapalooza and how this is bad for the league, that a third of the NBA are playing for lottery balls and are not trying to win NBA games. You've had a different take on this, which is tanking really a problem? Was that in the context of the gambling scandal that they really aren't concerned with tanking so much? They were actually concerned about the insider information around the tanking.
Yeah. So in the gambling indictments we saw, there was an unnamed coach, a co-conspirator who used to be a player and coaches a Western Conference team and told people that they weren't going to be playing their best player. People deduced it fairly easily that it's Chauncey Billups. And they're talking about the last year Damian Lillard in Portland, how they sat him because the team was tanking, because Damian Lillard was hurt. He was out for the year. And I said, that's not insider information, because everybody knew that was the deal when it came to the Portland Trailblazers in that stint. But again, I could see how the gambling people might have a problem with it. My thing has always been this. We trade on futures. That's what every team is doing. When you acquire someone's pick, you are, in essence, making a bet.
You're shorting him.
You're going to suck. I bet you we're going to be awesome. I'll be so awesome, I don't even care what happens to that pick. I bet you won't. And within that conversation, there has to be shades of gray. I think I'm going to be good, but if I really suck, I don't want to give that up, right? And so that's where protections come from. And so people who don't like protections in the league argue that basically it incentivizes a team to tank in order to keep your pick. But my thing is, the act of tanking is not solely for the gaming of where the pick comes or your odds of keeping your pick. It also comes in, I want to see what I got. Guys who otherwise would not play in a certain kind of role get opportunities as a result of us realizing our season is over. And thus, the internal form system of the NBA continues. There were people say, oh, I remember him. He played like the last 15 games of the season. He was really good. Cam Thomas was one of those guys. It was a season when everyone was hurt and everything was going down for the Nets. And all of a sudden, this guy comes in and he starts scoring. Separate from this is my long-standing thing of, it's not the protections, it's the draft itself.
Yes.
That's the problem. Get rid of the draft, we get rid of the incentives to tank. If you get rid of the draft and replace it with a salary exception, so we'll have a rookie free agency. All 30 teams, you get an exception. The worst team gets the biggest exception. The best team gets the smallest exception. Maybe that exception is a little bit more than what minimum is, and it grades up, right? But the idea is this. I cannot unilaterally tell a kid, you're going to play for me. I've got to pitch my situation to the player. Part of that, obviously, is how much money can you pay me? We could pay you more than anybody. We have the number one overall pick. Yes, but you're Sacramento, and you have a history of not really developing talent and not going anywhere. And I know that it's all about my second deal. And my second deal rests upon I'm going to play well, and we're going to be good by the time I'm up for my second deal. And so Sacramento, even though you can offer me the most money, I'm not going to you. So then you say, okay, what's next? Indiana. Okay, well, that's good. They're a good team. They're just temporarily bad. They can pay me, but I play point guard.
This is just college.
Yeah.
But instead of I'm going to play here for a year and then go to the league, this is I'm projecting my next 4 or 5 years.
4 years, because to me, you keep all the rookie skill stuff. So that salary exception, you get 2 years guaranteed, 2 team options if they want. Now comes the chess game of, like you said, like college. I got to prove to you that I develop players, that we're going somewhere, that you're going to have time and minutes and an ability to play. And we have an idea of what we're doing here, as opposed to, here's a bunch of money, we're going to suck. I don't even know how people are going to look at you at the end of this 4 years.
Now, I think what we've always been big on here at Basketball Illuminati is the hidden agenda or the hidden externality of the owners are going to put in this rule and not realize this can backfire in a big way. And I look at this flattening of the lottery odds as an example of this, is that it used to be a race to the bottom. Maybe 3-4 teams were trying to lose as many games as possible to get that advantageous 25% of lottery balls. The NBA said, you know what? We're going to flatten those odds so that there is no incentive to race to the bottom. And what this did was it created a larger race.
It opened up the race to people who otherwise would not have been eligible.
You're going to be in the race, and you're going to be in the race, and you're going to be in the race, and you're going to want to be in it, because look at what happened to Dallas last year. Look at what happened to the Atlanta Hawks. And now these owners are saying, well, they just got Cooper flagged by being in the 10th slot or whatever it was. I mean, do we really want to make the play-in? Do we really want to do that when we can go get AJ DeBonsa by being in the 8th slot? And so now Milwaukee is like, Giannis, we really want to protect you from that calf injury from getting exacerbated. I think it's best for you and your future. And really what that is we want to make sure that we maximize our pick here. Or another example, the Utah Jazz are now sitting guys in the 4th quarter when they're winning. And the Miami Heat, that's got to be a tough loss. Did you see Bam Adebayo's quote on Monday night?
No, what did he say?
After the Miami Heat lost to the Jazz at home.
And they sat their guys again in the 4th quarter.
Bam Adebayo, quote, we've got to find a way to win against teams that are, I guess you can say, trying to lose.
Yeah, they're trying to help you out, and you still can't get it done.
The team is actively trying to lose, and we still can't beat that team.
Yeah, I don't think anything has been more egregious than, as reported by Josh Robbins, Jazz leading the Magic 94-87. Lowry Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr. combining for 49 points. Neither of them playing in the 4th, and the Jazz losing by 3.
Top 8 protected pick, baby.
As transparent tanking as it could possibly be. I do like that this year. I think this is the first year that I can remember that we have teams that are buyers at the trade deadline and tanking.
What Brian Winters called the flip.
This is new trailblazing shit right here, guys.
This is also an element of the unintended consequences, right? The player participation policy is what forces Utah to have to trot out Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. for a requisite amount of minutes a game. Have we hit the quota? Cool. Kill it. That's why, if we didn't have that stupid-ass policy, those guys would have just sat in the same way that the 65-game rule is ridiculous, because it makes guys who otherwise probably shouldn't be. It doesn't force guys who are fine to play. It forces the guys who are injured, who shouldn't be playing, to try to come back and play. And all of these rules are designed to influence a certain kind of behavior. And I believe they do the opposite. I think they make this shit even more of a mockery than it already is.
Well, if I'm already out of the All-NBA, then I'll just pull the cord. I'm just not going to play the rest of the year. What is it for Anthony Davis at this point, or Trae Young, if they're already out of any sort of accolades or anything like that, and the team is clearly trying to go for ping pong balls? We're going to only see this get worse. Where last year, Scotty Barnes was resting in March, at the end of March, in the 4th quarter. The Toronto Raptors would be winning. They'd pull Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, and they'd say, all right, we're going to pull you off the floor. And they ended up with, I think, the 9th pick in the draft. But that was late March. I mean, now it's early February, late January, and teams are doing this tanking strategy. Do you think it gets better next year, that this is just a 1-year blip? Or do you think teams are going to be like, all right, if they didn't get fined, if the Jazz didn't get fined, if the Toronto Raptors didn't get fined, then I guess we'll just see how we do in the first couple months of the season, and then we'll just start doing this in January.
Tom, it's a copycat league.
That's what I'm saying.
In good ways and in bad. You copy success, you copy failure. This is why you got to respect the Sacramento Kings, man. None of this chicanery.
Old-fashioned,
walking uphill to school both ways, sucking. Trash.
Also New Orleans, by the way.
New Orleans is doing something completely different.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing.
They've got assets that people want that they refuse to trade. Like, they could tank worse. Plus, they gave away their pick.
They're doing the Pepper from Dodgeball.
Yes, no, I'm being told that Average Joe's does not have enough players and will be forfeiting the championship match.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
The Clippers figured out it ain't happening. We know our pick is gone. We've got to go secure ourselves some insurance out here. The Pelicans are playing as though they own their own pick when they do not, and refuse to give it any sort of insurance of saying, well, we could trade Trey Murphy and get a pretty good pick for him, or we could trade Zion and get a couple picks.
Herb Jones.
Nope. I like this strategy. Let's just keep all our guys and see what happens.
Derek Queen's got to be so good, man. He's got to be so good to have people forget about that, which is like Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is so good that people will just forget about the Luka trade because they got Cooper Flagg.
Hey, man.
I'm not going to be so upset about the Luka thing and the fact that they didn't get a top 200 player.
No.
They haven't forgotten.
I'm never going to forget.
I don't know, man.
No one's forgetting. Look, it's a nice epilogue to the story. No one's forgetting. In the same way that Trae Young was a nice little pickup for Atlanta, but for the rest of his life, he's always going to be associated with Luka Doncic. That's it.
At least Trae Young is now part of the second worst Luka Doncic trade. That's the only thing that helped him out, was that a worse trade came along.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Mavs got
nothing.
No players and the worst first-round picks.
Barely first-round picks.
It's more accurate to say they got 3 second-round picks than it is that they got 3 first-round picks.
Yes.
You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. And this one was a fold by the Mavericks, but this was the time to fold.
I think the fans finally start to see the vision.
Tom's searching through his brain for a transition to Jake Fischer right now.
What's happening.
He's fishing. I can see it.
I'm fishing. Oh, I got a bite. If you want to learn more about that Trae Young trade and the Anthony Davis trade, boy, we've got a lot of fish on the line with Jake Fischer, who we learn how to blog. Who among us has not had a blogspot blog? John La Blah Blah Blog.
Bob Loblaw's blogspot.
Jake Fischer from Steinline and Bleacher Report. You're going to join us as our truth teller right after this.
Hello, listener. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that we at Cinephobe love our pets. Zach and Boogie are inseparable. I've got 2 cats and a dog, and Amin is giving his best ass-on performance to convince dog owners that he loves their pet.
Hey, Noodle. Hey, boy. How you doing? And Noodle was just like, whatever.
Which is why today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. Your pet is part of your family, and you want the best for them no matter what. But vet bills can really add up. That's why you should check out pet insurance. And with ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, you can focus on the care your pet deserves and cover what matters most. If your pet is having a medical issue, the unfortunate situation is that they can't tell you about it. Maybe their behavior is a little weird and you're left guessing and you got to take them to the vet. Hey, you can't schedule these things. And that's why it's worth checking out ASPCA Pet Health Insurance, because it can help you with an unexpected vet bill and make sure your pet gets the care they need when they need it. The best part? There's a special perk for signing up. Because when you enroll in an ASPCA Pet Health Insurance plan, you could get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you to help your pet get the care they may need. They allow you to customize your plan, helping ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are. Because big vet bills never show up when it's convenient, do they? To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/dings. Eligibility Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince Cookware. I don't know about you, but for me, it's stew season. Been working on my game, making some hearty, saucy, brothy, and delicious stews with my professional grade cast iron Dutch oven from Quince. But let me tell you a little secret. It's actually affordable because with Quince, you're working directly with the factory, straight to the makers, no middlemen, no retail markup, no packaging costs, no fancy storefronts, no big marketing budgets, just quality cookware. Because a stew is only as good as the vessel containing it. So upgrade your kitchen at quince.com/dings for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, quince.com/dings.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Walmart Business saves you time, money, and hassle, which means you can focus on what really matters. Like putting the money you save back into what you do. Spending more time training your team, filling orders, and finding new clients. Anything and everything, right down to, oh, that's the one, choosing the best hold music. Walmart Business. It's the Walmart you love, now for your business. Learn more at business.walmart.com.
You all think I'm late. Well, I'm not late. And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause. Even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the Taylors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
There's no better way to overpower a trickle of doubt than with a flood of naked truth.
But the complexity and the gray lie not in the truth, but what you do with the truth once you have it.
What is true and right is true and right for all.
You and I both know that that's just not the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
It's too messy. Keeps them up nights.
I'm here because in the end, the truth is worth the risk.
Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
I'm a grown man, you can tell me the truth.
Why is it people who want the truth never believe it when they hear it?
So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something really outrageous. I'm going to tell the truth.
I've actually declined pretty much every single request I've had to make an appearance for months until now.
There you go.
Breaking the silence.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Do you have like an album coming out or something, Jake? Is that why?
No, but I hope to get my life to be that way. Like I'd love to disappear into the depths of my creative bunker and only come out when it's time to promote. Yeah.
Go out to Montana and, you know, invite people to come visit you on your ranch while you're cooking up some tracks.
Just call me Phil Jackson, baby.
So what does this period look like for you? Like the post-trade deadline? Are you...
The refractory period.
Good phrasing. I mean, yeah, I did a fucking meditation class today. It's a balance of like so much shit did and did not happen. So like, what's the correct timing to, you know, all these relationships that you're managing? There are certain people you can just call the day after the deadline and say, that was crazy. What happened? There are other people who, you know, all right, I'm going to give that guy 2 weeks. There are certain people who I'm just going to say lied to me and I'm going to have to call them out at some point in time. But I'm going to wait, let that kind of settle before I, you know, say what the hell happened there, person. So,
well,
yeah.
All right. Before we get into the deals that happened, the deals that didn't happen, you mentioned the meditation class. I don't know if you can verbalize it, but just how stressful was last week for you?
It's not so stressful when you feel like you know what's going on. Like to me, I was texting with, I'll shout out Sean Hyken here. To me, like the people who are putting out things on Twitter that they claim to know what's going on, to me, the most stressful part of the job is when something is developing and you don't know. Like the analogy I came up with this time around is like the entire league, there's all stuff happening under a box. Can I pull this box?
Yeah.
There's all stuff happening inside a box.
He's got
and
props.
We're getting holes cut through it and you're looking through.
Mm-hmm.
You're only really seeing 60% of the stuff. And then at the end, you take the box away in terms of Trace Jackson Davis is the center that goes to Toronto and Kobe White is traded to Charlotte. Like we didn't know where Kobe White was going to go. We knew he was going somewhere. To me, the real stressful part is 9 p.m. on a Thursday. Just want to get dinner with a friend. Anytime my phone buzzes, that window of like, oh God, something could be happening. So now that we're past, like, sure, there's 10-day contracts and two-way stuff and whatever, but now
like, could Shams play in the celebrity game if it was before the trade deadline?
I highly doubt he would do that.
He'd have to have a phone in his pocket like Ben Simmons.
There you go. I don't want to
That would
speak
be
for
sick,
him.
actually, if he could break a trade on the court. Like Shams just comes to a halt, starts texting. They're running a fast break while he's not getting back, and then everybody gets a Shams bomb.
Everybody. Yeah. I do not want to speak for his process because from what I know, we sound like we have wildly different lives. But yeah, what you just said sounds accurate.
Well, what is wildly different in the way you handle the trade deadline and what you would say maybe most or some newsbreakers do? Like, what is your strategy different in your eyes?
I mean, I'm just trying to have as much of a normal life as I can. And I think in terms of that direct comparison, I don't make $4 million. So I'm not working as hard. I'm not working as hard as that guy. Honestly, that's just what it is.
Those meditation classes don't pay for themselves, Jake. You know, you gotta take care of yourself, but
I
do okay.
But I know my approach is always like, I am just a guy. I'm trying to call, as Mark Stein calls me. I am just a guy. So I try to approach every GM, agent, player as they're just a guy as well. And I'm always trying to be as empathetic and sympathetic to their situations. I'm sorry to bother you. Then I'll also try to appeal to the human side of like when the Pacers-Zubac trade was going down, I texted somebody and I was like, I'm on handed knee asking you for the terms of the Zubac deal. Like trying to have some humor and levity in the moment is definitely my approach.
Is it top 10 to 30 protected or top 11 to 30 protected? Please let me know.
There's certain people who you can get a little flirtatious with in like a jokey way. Like, hey daddy, what's that top, what's that 2025? Yeah.
Like Schefter.
Exactly.
All right. So you mentioned texting with Sean Hyken. I purposely do not text any of my friends who are in your line of work during that time. Even if, like, obviously I'm not texting like, hey, yeah, you catch that, whatever. Like, have you seen Sinners yet? I'm not talking about that. I even basketball, like specific newsy stuff. I do not text you guys because I feel like any moment, even processing a text from me is a moment taken away from doing something else. On the flip side, I hate when my friends text me. And a lot of times, and it's always bullshit. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not even going to respond to this right now. What is your policy as far as whomst texts you and what they are allowed to text about?
I don't take myself that seriously, man.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
I got friends who, like my old roommate, shout out Hatem, diehard Minnesota Timberwolves fan, on like Tuesday night before the deadline, he texted me, which one of my sweet babies, Nas Reader, Jaden McDaniels, am I going to have to say goodbye to? And I said, if you're getting Giannis, probably both. Like, because that's just what it is. So, I mean, the people who, I love everyone who reaches out to me to come on to their local radio show. And one day when I do have an album to promote, I will definitely say yes. But yeah, like the people who asked me to come on their show at like 1:50 on Thursday, there was definitely a little bit of like, come on, man, are you serious?
Read the room.
Outside of that, I don't know. I think part of the fun of this silly world that I live in is when this condo insurance policy agent guy who I know from years ago plays pickup with Elton Brand. And he texts me, Elton didn't play pickup this week, so does that mean the Sixers are up to something? Like that kind of stuff I find hilarious. So anyone could text me if they have my number. I might not answer, but
that could be a tip. You know, you always keep your third eye open. You never know. Maybe EB is involved. I actually think that's a interesting place to start here is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Now we're starting.
Well, I think you mentioned it earlier that people lied to you. And
I think there's lied to me.
One person. Okay. Singular. Yeah. And not everybody, because you're a trustworthy guy. No one ever lied to you.
Thank you.
I kind of read that Jared McCain deal as that they were prepping for a potential Giannis trade, that they were getting all this capital together to flip those first round picks because that's what Milwaukee wanted. And then I feel like Daryl Morey can't come out and say, yeah, we got lied to that actually Giannis wasn't getting moved. So we actually moved Jared McCain thinking that we were in the ball game. And actually now we're just sitting on these picks that we can spin it, that we're going to use these in down the line. But really, I think that's a tough spot for a GM is to trade away a young, talented player like Jared McCain, who had Philadelphia, just kind of like the Linsanity of last year for Philadelphia was just awesome. And then he's gone. And Daryl Morey's got to go out there and be like, yeah, I think he said something alluding to this.
He said we sold. I'm pretty confident we sold high on that.
Yeah.
Interesting way to phrase things. But he also, I think what he also said was we were trying to get something else done that didn't actually materialize. So
I do not think they were trying to get Giannis. I think they definitely just thought they were selling high on Jared McCain. And if I remember correctly off top of mind, they got the Rockets pick, which is going to be somewhere 25 through 30. They picked McCain a couple years ago at like 16 overall. They got 3 seconds plus that. Like in theory, as an asset, they did generate more positive value than what McCain was originally, while also ducking the tax.
Right.
And
that's the big part.
To me, that's what it was about. It's about, hey, we were at the time of the Paul George announcement. We did this on the show last week. They were $1.5 million, I think less than $2 million away from being a non-taxpayer. Not talking about aprons. We're talking about, I don't pay a tax, I get a check in the mail. And they were one of several teams who were within striking distance of that. And we saw that because when we did the math last week, we're like, you're talking about a $13 million check possibly.
For sure.
And when all the dust settled, non-taxpayers are getting a $4 million check because so many taxpayers became non-taxpayers on Thursday. To me, that's what it was about. It just, Jake, I'm staggered to hear a general manager speaks so dismissively, even if he's not lying, even if what he's saying is accurate, dismissively about a player who people were very confident about a year ago. I just don't know who that benefits. How does that benefit him to say it in those terms?
It doesn't. I mean, I'm from Philly. My brother and all of my high school friends are not happy with Daryl Morey right now. Like, they are very disappointed by the outcome of the deadline. And I'll tell you too, to like kind of double down on me thinking they were not going after Giannis, was my calls with anyone who was familiar with the Sixers strategy, let's say, in lead up to the deadline. They were one of, I think, a lot of teams that they really wanted to go up until as late as they could to decide whether or not to become a buyer or not, because the standings are so bunched. And I think a lot of it too was going to be like, one thing Daryl said was there wasn't any needle movers entering the East, which I saw someone, I think it was Justin Termini at Sirius, say like he went from calling James Harden the greatest offensive engine ever to calling him not a needle mover, which is pretty funny. But I think a lot of teams this year needed to see some type of other ante up for them to go into the pot as well. And I don't really think, to Daryl's point, the swapping Darius Garland for James Harden really make Cleveland that much better. As much as I'm a devout Nick Vucevic stan, does adding him really make Boston that much better? Does New York getting Jose Alvarado really make them that much? They all got better in some respect. I liked all those moves, but I understand why a team would also decide, okay, when healthy, if healthy, we're still just as good. We might as well keep our powder dry. The Sixers still have like a ton of draft cash in the hopper to go make a move this summer, depending on how things go. So yeah, I'm not like so mad at the inactivity, but I was definitely saying they've got 20 million plus essentially in expirings between Oubre, Drummond, Quentin Grimes. They've got picks. Go get somebody. Go get the guy I liked for them was Bobby Portis. He would have been an interesting, I thought, like stretch five backup pair. Like he could play next to Embiid, and it would have only been Oubre and Drummond. And I thought maybe the expirings compared to the 3 years of Portis's number. I'm not reporting that that was even a concept that the Sixers explored, but I would have been interested in that if I was in that front office.
What are some deals that came close but did not materialize of the non-lying variety?
I mean, I'd say Toronto was very clearly shopping for a center. Jakob Poeltl's hurt. Who knows when he'll be back? That contract that he signed this summer, I don't know who that benefited other than Jakob Poeltl and his representation at XL Sports. Shout out to those guys. But the fact that they did not go meet Sacramento's first-round pick asking price for Sabonis, the fact they didn't do that for Daniel Gafford, I am surprised by. Like, Bobby Webster has come out and said he's been tracking Trace Jackson Davis forever. Big fan of him, blah, blah, blah. Fits the timeline. Sure. I thought that the East being so wide open, Toronto being legitimately good, I thought they were going to have more juice to go out and get a legit starting caliber center. So the fact that they weren't, I think, was surprising because they were advertising that they were going to go get a big man, and they did. They got Trace Jackson Davis, but for what, like a second round pick or whatever it was to get him from Golden State. So that one to me, because the deadline is not like free agency or the draft where there are things that are like, there's going to, like, every team now has to spend to the salary floor. On the draft, there's going to be a pick made 1 through 60. The deadline, if you're a center, if you're a team shopping for a center, if you're a team looking for a backup guard, like, you just might not get that guy. So the fact that they did get a center, but Indiana comes off the top rope and goes basically 2 unprotected picks for Zubac, and Toronto was just kind of sniffing around and just said, we're good. I was surprised by.
You reported pretty extensively about Golden State and the Giannis chase. You had in one of your reports, you said Golden State is aware of the recent rumblings that Antetokounmpo can't be assumed to be as eager as he once perceived to be to relocate to Stephen Curry's town and team. And then you go to say people didn't really know exactly what Giannis wanted. He kind of has some preferences, but doesn't want to team up with an older team that feels like he's not on the same timeline as them. But then he didn't really put out that video about like the Wolf of Wall Street video a week before the trade deadline. That would have been nice to do that a week before the trade deadline. So is everyone at the deadline just as confused as they were beforehand about what the Giannis situation was and what he wants to do? And or is there some clarity to that now?
I think the Bucks were never actually going to move him right now. I think they, in fairness to like the Milwaukee front office side of this, I thought the way, from what I have understood happened, is that they actually finally said, okay, well, listen. And now they have data, because before the week before the deadline, it was, don't call us on Giannis. We're not even thinking about that. In fact, we're going to be buyers. We're going to add to him. So they changed. And taking in the data of what teams are willing to part with. Like, perfect example, the Minnesota old roommate Hatem. Like, if you're the Bucks and now you have a better sense come this summer of Minnesota's rankings of their players behind Anthony Edwards, of who they're more willing to part with. Same thing with Miami, with the Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Kasparis Yakuchunas, just like stash of recent first round prospects. Like, now you have a better understanding coming back to the summer what those price points are. But I think Giannis, the most confusing, frustrating part about all this for everyone is Giannis having his cake and eating it too, of like very much behind the scenes communicating, I want to be traded. But then every opportunity, whether it's Sam Amick at The Athletic or Eric Name or John, I'm never going to pronounce his last name correctly, or Ozarski.
Yeah.
Ozarski.
That's my guy.
Like, him to constantly always say, but Milwaukee, my children were born here. I want to win here.
The passport says Milwaukee on it.
Like,
that's my favorite.
I had a smoothie here.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The custard's amazing.
Me and Zach Harper have been going on with this. Giannis has this whole routine that he does that makes him more endearing and almost childlike,
not anymore.
right?
Not anymore.
People aren't buying the. Ooh, what is this called? McFlurry? Ooh, I've never had one of these before.
I'd say the court of public opinion, Giannis is no longer an endearing personality, especially the Kalshi thing.
The Kalshi thing.
The Kalshi
Here
thing.
We go. Let's get into the Kalshi.
Complete. I mean, if you want to talk about third eye opening, I mean, I'm so anti prediction markets on a conceptual level, but the fact that they generated X number of millions of dollars in profit off of people trying to predict where he was going to go, only for him to not go anywhere. And then he comes out the next day as an investor. What the hell, man?
It's crazy because people are like, Adam Silver needs to do something. Adam Silver, the federal government needs to do something. This is well beyond like, oh, that's unfair for NBA. This is basically what they call, what's the thing, Maze, that Hawk Tua girl got caught up into with the
rug pull.
The Hawk Tua girl.
Rug pull.
Rug pull, baby.
Yeah.
Invest in this meme coin and then, oops, it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I number one, as like Thanasis Stein texted me a clip today of Thanasis on his podcast saying, I'm so tired of people reporting on what like Giannis's camp says. Like, you're not talking to us. Well, it's like, all right, you have 14 teammates, and every time you go on a road game somewhere, you talk to people and you say things, and those people talk to people and they talk to me. Like, stop saying we don't know where this is coming from, and then on the record saying I never want to leave, but I might want to leave tomorrow. Like that type of, I tweeted out, people got mad at me, but did you guys see, I tweeted out a guy impersonating Giannis's press conference.
Yeah, that dude, he does a good job.
It was so good. Don't
that
say
dude
demand.
does a good job.
Don't say demand. It's like when you desire and you think and you want, it's not a demand. Like
it's crazy because the kid, he not only nails the voice, but he nails like the sentence structure, the word choice, the intonation. Like that's even if the guy couldn't do the voice at all, that's exactly how Giannis talks. Shit like that. Like, remember when he got when they got eliminated in the first round, and he had this deep.
Yeah,
the failure.
Yeah, it's not a failure because and everyone or a bunch of people started swooning because like, oh, what a big picture way to look at it. Like, no, he's just doing the Giannis thing. Where I come from another country, I have a different voice, different accent, and I can speak in a way that'll make people think, wow, how esoteric and deep. I know this firsthand. Leandro Barbosa, I love him to death. That's one of my best friends who's ever played in the league. But LB specifically would get away with shit because he talks with an accent. either A, he would do shit like he would, hey man, you're supposed to do this. It's like, oh, I didn't, like he acts like he didn't understand when he absolutely knew, right? That's one. But the other thing is, LB can talk to guys, other players, in a way that they would never tolerate from another player. But because it's like, I've seen it happen with my own eyes of like someone who like, hey man, you got to do this, man. Fuck you, da 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 da. LB says it, and LB doesn't even say it nicely. He just says it in his voice. And I seen the guy go, yeah, man, you right, LB. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just, there's something about those guys. Yeah. And I believe the accent is central to it that allows them to get away with shit that most other players would not get away with.
The honest thing is unfortunate because he was adorable. Like, he was so precious to all of us as an NBA fan base when he came to the league. And he's grown up now. It's like a child star, or it's like he's still doing the same catchphrase from his 70s TV show, and all of a sudden,
Sandy Lyles?
We're not laughing at it anymore. Like, you're the kid from Crocodile Tears. It's like you're dining out on that, but now you're stealing people's lives in Jesus Christ Superstar, and no one wants to hear it. Like, everyone knows that he doesn't want to be there. It's the biggest open secret in the league. If he just said, trade me,
yes,
this would have been better for everyone.
Which is why, on the flip side, you got to give a shout out to James Harden. That man,
right? It's like last week was a master class.
Whenever he wants out, he just goes, you know what? Not only do I want out, trade me there. And he gets there every time. Who would have thought
every time
that James Harden, LA's prodigal son, would want to go to Cleveland? And
it doesn't even have to make sense because it doesn't.
Well, it does make sense.
A tiger doesn't change his stripes, man. We could have seen this a mile away. Well, this is what James Harden does.
Tom,
this is what he does.
To be fair, what Jake is not saying that the tiger changes stripes. He said, who would have thought that tiger would have picked that jungle?
Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland. Well, the reason the jungle makes sense, if we want to get this back to reporting and insight, is that James Harden has a player option for next year, but it's a very wonky mutual option where he can opt in, but the team can then waive him before the guarantee date, so he only gets $13 million. He wants another deal. So much NBA business right now. Trae Young, James Harden, Jimmy Butler last year, Brandon Ingram before that. It's going to potentially come up with Kawhi this summer. If you want to get your payday and you're not getting it from your current team, you're going to go try to find a team who's going to pay you instead. So Harden, he can get a 2-year deal this summer that would line up perfectly with before Donovan Mitchell's extension that the Cavs are hoping he will agree to this summer. He'll get that one last payday, and then it'll be very clean for Cleveland's books for it to melt away off the cap before Donovan Mitchell's next big deal kicks in. Like, from a math standpoint, from a contending standpoint, it makes sense. But Cleveland, that doesn't make sense.
Does James Harden have like a capologist, or is he doing this?
He's definitely got he has like I think technically 3 agents. Yeah. Most agencies have an in-house cap strategist now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like he seems to understand the marketplace very acutely.
I mean, so much of understanding the marketplace just begins with recognizing when you have leverage. And James Harden is still pretty damn good at basketball and good enough to be able to be like, you know what? I bet one team that I would want to go to will pay me. And he had a couple teams he wanted to go to. Atlanta didn't work out with the Trae Young thing. He had an eye on Minnesota. He wanted to be the guard that Minnesota paired with Anthony Edwards. They didn't want him. So Cleveland was the one. And he was like, sure, I'll make that happen.
Jake, what was the moment where your third eye was open on the Ivica Zubac deal or the Anthony Davis deal or the Jaren Jackson deal? Like,
well, let's hold on. Let's hold Anthony Davis because I want to get deep on that. So let's start with the Zubac. Like, when did you realize, oh shit, this is happening?
Zubac was probably my personal biggest win of the deadline. So let's start there.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday night. At some point, a team called me and said, hey, we just called the Clippers. They told us if we don't put 2 actual first on the table, we can't get in the Zubac conversation. I was like, whoa. Like, they've got 2 firsts. They said they're certainly acting like it. So you just go back through your notes, and the Pacers were calling on him and the Celtics were calling on him primarily. The Celtics already got Nikola Vucevic. So tried to triangulate, okay, and the Vooch deal wasn't complete yet. So I was like, oh, are the Celtics just going to reroute Vooch there? But check that. That was not in the cards. The Pacers were definitely in the mix. They've got all their firsts. So that's why I tweeted out on Wednesday night, like something kind of innocuous, like not specific. It was something like, sources after the Clippers have traded James Harden, they are still receiving calls on Zubac, with the Pacers prime among them. Prime among teams calling. And then finally went to bed. You wake up on Thursday and just like every big domino, Giannis, Ja, Zubac, you're just immediately checking in with people like, good morning. Anything happened while I was asleep? And throughout the day, it just continued to be like, I'm always tapping in every angle of the situation. So like another angle of that Pacers Zubac thing was Gafford probably being their second option at that point in time behind Zubac. And like the Mavericks were very much of the mind that the Pacers were going hard after Zubac. So I just kind of felt good. I kept calling people tangentially involved in all the center stuff in Indiana, and like Ben Mathurin was probably going to piece going out the door. So you call people who know about Ben Mathurin's situation. And then like whenever that happened, 2:30 Eastern time, I finally got a text from someone who said, I think the Zubac deal is going down. So texted people who would know. And then it's like a mad dash to get all the pieces. And putting out the pick protections was a fun one because it was wonky as hell. So
unorthodox, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Unorthodox. I wonder, man, I wonder, was there anything Pritchard or Chad Buchanan or any of those guys, the reasoning for setting up the protections the way it was? I kind of like educated guess. I know there's been a bunch of draft studies that show, look, the best players come in this range or they come later, and there's that dead zone at the end of the lottery that, like, for whatever reason, players don't really pan out in terms of expected value as they do the other zones.
Top 5
them.
is where it's at. Yeah.
Right. So was that kind of the vibe that they were doing, or was it just this is negotiate until you get to the place where, all right, this is the protection we agreed to?
Can I just say, I'm stunned that they didn't do top 5 protected versus top 4 protected, just because their odds of conveying that are way higher at 5. The 5 slot is super valuable in that negotiation because of just the way the draft flattening of the odds. So
correct.
It is. I am sure they went back and forth on that quite a bit.
Yeah, to be candid, I need to make more calls on that. Like literally the second we hang up, to try to get the real story on the back and forth there. But the way someone quickly explained it to me was, the Pacers aren't fucking around, man. Like they wanted to get their work done right now to get a center to pair with Tyrese Halliburton for next year. So in that process, they kept the aspect of, we're getting a stud in this draft, or you can have it. Like,
right.
And it's kind of a hedge for both teams. The Clippers getting a 5 through 9 pick in this draft, where they already have their pick out the door, would be great. But also, if they don't, they get it unprotected in 2031, 5 years from now, or who the hell knows what that could be. Then I think it's like an even hedge on both sides.
It's also funny that they would even protect the back end of that. Like,
well, I was asking Zach and Mo about that last week, and it's for the Clippers cap sheet. They don't want to have to pay money to somebody who's a 15th pick.
Right. And on the flip side, if you're the Pacers, you actually might want to have a rookie scale deal guy on your books who you're kind of developing, even though that hasn't exactly worked out with the Jarris Walker of the world, like it has worked out with Ben Shepherd, you know? So if you can develop someone on that rookie scale 10 through 30, because also if it's 10 through 30, that means the pace, something wild happened. Because right now the Pacers are what, like third worst team in the league?
Yeah.
So they're the second worst team in the league as we record this. So they're basically going into the lottery, barring some crazy win streak or, you know, Brooklyn just having a total fail. They're going to have a top.
Well, there's the other danger, which is you get into what happened last year, which is a team that has two teams that have no business moving up to the top.
For sure.
Move up.
But along those lines, if they're going in with a top 4, you know, they can't fall. They're not going to fall 4 spots. And even if they do, it's still going to be in that 5 to 9 range.
Right.
So it's funny. A past Flame used to say, everything in life has a 50-50 chance. It's either going to happen or it's not. But in this scenario, it's going to be it's a 50-50 chance. Like it's either that pick is not going to be 10 through 30. Like that'd be insane because it really can't fall. It can get jumped 4 times, but if you're going into the lottery with the third worst record, you can't fall to 10. So it's a hedge. Yeah.
I don't know why this happened, but in my head, when you said my friend told me that 50-50 line, I thought of Shaq when he did the TNT line about the gas mileage.
Oh. When he
I don't remember that one.
You know what it says? If you don't fill up your gas tank, or if you don't let your gas tank get on E, you save money, basically. So
he had logic. Just could not get his mind around.
He got upset. Like no one could understand. That is like, no, if you let it just get half full and then you fill it back up to full, never gets to empty, you save money. And they're like, no, you just go to the pump more often. Like
Kenny the Jet was losing his mind in that.
Yeah.
He's just like
I definitely
I do remember that now.
The Clippers' own pick jumping up into the lottery and pushing the Pacers pick into the zone where they would get it. That would be kismet right there.
But then the Thunder would be getting a top selection.
Well, you know that's going to happen, Jake. Come on. It's the Thunder. Everything's coming up Thunder, baby.
I mean, it happens for San Antonio every year. We know that.
That's true.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Something that I was curious about was another deal that didn't happen, or that there wasn't as much movement to the Pistons. The Pistons are sitting in first. They have an opportunity to add to their roster here at the deadline, trade Tobias Harris's contract and whatever flotsam they can get. And they came away with Kevin Huerter in exchange for giving up on Jaden Ivey. Was there more talk out of Detroit, or were they content to stand pat with the team they have?
There's one super sexy Detroit rumor that I have not confirmed, but I'll give that tease to the listeners. But on the flip side of being unsexy, I think the Pistons were super pragmatic in that, look, we're not even supposed to be here right now. We weren't even supposed to be the 6th seed in the playoffs a year ago. We're playing with house money. Let's not rush this thing. Let's not put the fast and furious turbo jets on expectations. Like, let's just ease on into this contending window, baby. Like, we're going to have to pay Jalen Duren this year. We're going to have to pay Asar Thompson in the rookie scale window in the fall. Why are we starting our clock and starting expectations too early? Jaden Ivey just never had with injuries, never had a real window to establish himself as a key guy that you'd want to extend in this situation. And I think for them, it's all been about financial flexibility and that sneaky little pick swap with the Wolves.
I think it's a great move.
I mean, they jumped up like 7 spots in this draft for that, getting off Ivy, which might sound small, but I'm so not up to date on this draft yet, but someone I was talking to who's like a draft head who I really respect his opinion said to me that this year's draft, and this could all just be like rhetoric that doesn't amount to anything later on, but people in the league think of this year's draft that like the 25th pick in this draft will be the equivalent of the 15th pick in an average draft.
Right.
So I see Amin giggling. Yeah, like
I love when NBA people do this.
But
was that guy working for the Pistons? Yes.
Like an exchange rate. I love how they.
Yeah. But this, if that is true, but even regardless, like every year there's tiers that people say like, oh, like after the top 18, it falls off. Right now, the Pistons are jumping up 8 slots to do that. So that's a pretty big jump in that range for accessibility to certain prospects that I do think if you weren't going to pay Jaden Ivey anyway, that's a fair trade-off. Herder will help you. Expiring deal. To me, it was like fair business all around.
Are you surprised there wasn't more of an appetite for someone to take a flyer out on Jaden Ivey, or is that all due to everyone knows, look, he's going to be a restricted free agent at the end of this, and you're going to have to deal with all that mess?
I don't think people are necessarily like down on Jaden Ivey. I just think this was a marketplace that had so many guards available, right? Like
they all went to Chicago.
Yep.
And they all went to Chicago. Or they left Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that, like the two-way wing market was desolate. You know, the Lakers would have loved a Trey Murphy or a Herb Jones or whoever, and there just wasn't that type of guy really available here. Even like Kennard and Herder moving to contenders, I thought was interesting because it showed that like, okay, if we can't get a 3-and-D guy, like we're going in on shooting. Like to me, that was an interesting trend that like if you can't get both, we're leaning offense.
Right.
But yeah, I think for Jaden Ivey, the restricted free agency, I wouldn't say probably was a deterrent because in today's landscape, it benefits the team who has the player, right? Like you get to control the marketplace and what have you. I just think Detroit was only going to move him for something that they found beneficial. And him just like going to Chicago, I don't think is a reflection of Jaden Ivey's market more than it is Detroit was just trying to be opportunistic. That was the word they kept using. They definitely thought moving up 8 slots in the draft and Herder, because Herder they could bring back probably if they want at like a number that's going to be relatively modest. I don't think there's going to be a robust Kevin Herder market this summer. I mean, he's a good shooter. He'll have interest, but I doubt that player is going to be getting the mid-level. So they probably saw that salary slot plus the swap as a good enough move to make it happen.
Well, let's dim the lights. Let's light a candle. Let's throw on some Barry White. And let's hear your sexy rumor regarding Detroit.
Can't say it. Cannot say it.
Jake, I'm just a guy standing in front of a guy asking him to tell me the sexy Detroit rumor.
I deserve that. Well,
we'll see when it's on Steinline, right? On your Substack.
There it is.
What it is. Plug. So this is a tease to go subscribe, right?
Please subscribe. markstein.substack.com. You're not finding any more nuanced, detailed, contextual insider reporting anywhere else on the internet. That's my pitch.
I want to get an inside kind of reporting real quick. Do you have graphics? Were you out on graphics? Where you do the graphic for reporting? And what are your thoughts as an insider? The big graphic these days, as I'll call it.
Infographics is what he's asking about.
Like, do you just have a whole the breaking news graphic? Did you ever aspire to get?
I've never tweeted a breaking news graphic.
Do you get FOMO? Do you get jealous? Are you like, hey, that I want my stamp on this? No,
not at all. No.
You're just a pure.
You could just have like a fishing rod in the corner. Come on, man. The branding could be great.
Be good. You know, my first blog, it probably doesn't exist anymore. It was on blogspot.com. It was called Fish Sportsline. And I like on clip art had a little cartoon guy with a fishing rod and it had a basketball and a baseball and a football on it. So the internet's loose if you want to go find that. I probably had some very problematic Bill Simmons impersonating type of columns on there. So if you want to cancel me for something I wrote in 2007, please go for it.
I just feel like those graphics hold you up. Like if you have a report, just go with the report that you want to get out, right?
I wouldn't know because that's not my process. Yeah.
I think it's more, It's more that
got it
you
all
have to
figured
make
out.
it for Instagram, Tom. Like
I'm
you have to
also
make it for
very-
Instagram, so you might as well post it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I'm also very bad at tweeting. I cannot tweet without an error. I don't know what it is. It's some mental block. Like I remember in the Harden trade, I wrote like he was traded to the Cavalier, singular, not plural.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely trying to get in, get out, and make no mistakes, let alone overcomplicate it with some type of image.
All right, Jake. Now for the main event.
Okay.
The Anthony Davis deal to Washington. I talked to Josh Robbins of The Athletic. He said it developed very quickly. The two teams had been talking about smaller deals, but then at some point Dallas said, what about Anthony Davis? Would that interest you? And that's where everything kind of picked up late in the game there. Washington, I see a lot of people making comparisons because Will Dawkins and Michael Winger both OKC alums. Like, oh, they're doing the same thing OKC did. I don't see it. I think I saw this as a very risky, abrupt cash-in of assets. Now, Josh Robbins said from the Wizards' perspective, they're saying we didn't give up any of our young players that we care about. And we have more picks than we can shake a stick at. So we can afford to take this gamble on Anthony Davis. I guess my question becomes, A, what are the odds, as we talk about the financials, right, of a commitment beyond the here and now, that the Wizards are able to lock in Anthony Davis for a while? And the other part is I thought that would trigger a fire sale from Dallas. Mm-hmm. And we'd see Gafford go. We'd see maybe P.J. Washington and Najee Marshall and all these guys go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we didn't. That was the only deal they did.
Yeah.
So was there an attempt at a fire sale, or was this just the one thing that they wanted to move past?
No, there was definitely no fire sale energy coming out of Dallas. They were, to my experience, they were like very principled. Like they were not going to trade Anthony Davis for less than multiple first-round picks. They were not going to trade Daniel Gafford for less than the first. They were not going to trade Najee Marshall for less than the first. And if those price points weren't met, like they weren't, like Stein put this out. Atlanta called about Daniel Gafford at one point, and the Mavs said, give us a first, and the Hawks said, click. Like, that was it. Both sides just moved on. So, and Toronto, we talked about at the top, like they were not willing to put a first round on the table for a center. With AD to Washington, I'm mad at myself for not being up on that more, because we knew the Wizards were calling around with Middleton, with stuff, trying to get Sabonis. They called on Zion. They called on Karl Anthony Towns. And I heard on like Tuesday, oh yeah, there's like a mystery Eastern Conference team that's in on AD. And so people thought,
you heard the two things separately and didn't connect the dots.
People thought it was Cleveland. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And that like threw me off the scent. And so when the news broke, I was like, God damn it, why didn't I put the two? Because back in my day, when I was first getting started in this game and I was getting less access, I had to connect the dots more proactively. So younger me was definitely mad at Kurt me for not piecing that together.
You're old and fat now.
Exactly.
Your success has made you, what's the word? Largesse, right?
Exactly. But to your question about extension stuff, all I know for sure is like there was definite back channel, Trae Young, Washington. What's this marriage going to look like contractually before the deal got done? Mm-hmm. That did not happen here. So there's already like conflicting, Chris Haynes reported that AD is out for the year. Will Dawkins is saying, no, we expect him to be around. So there's definitely some meat on the bone in terms of unresolved.
Yeah.
How exactly is that partnership going to work out?
The Wizards doing this deal is it reminds me of the jumping lamb in a ditch. There's that old video.
Totally know that one.
I know
where this lamb is like
hopping lamb in a ditch. Yeah.
The lamb, come on, guys. The lamb gets freed from the ditch,
yes,
and it prances around and immediately falls back into the ditch.
Yes.
The Wizards are doing it again. Yeah. They're chasing 500 in a way that Trae Young and Anthony Davis, it's like, oh, we can get back to respectability and all this stuff. And I'm like, in what world is Trae Young and Anthony Davis, the reality of those two, ever going to play enough young enough to actually contend in the Eastern Conference? We just saw this happen with Kristaps Porzingis and Trae Young. We just saw it with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, who played one game together, and then Trae Young and Kristaps played 3 games together. And we watched the KD and the James Harden, Kyrie. All of this, like, hey, we're getting these stars together is such a pie in the sky thing. And it just seems like the Wizards were they were not in a ditch. They were out of the ditch for like 2 years, being like, all right, we're going to like clean the books and we're done getting on this hamster wheel to mix the metaphors. And then suddenly we're right back in the ditch of just like, I don't know what we're doing, but hey, we might be a 42-win team this year.
I think the one counterpoint to it not being a ditch is if you look at it through the lens of the NFL, when you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, that's the time in football to spend on skill positions, right? The Wizards were going to have like $80 million in salary cap space this summer. They were going to have to spend it somewhere. So like there was a point in time when I was in DC in November, there was a point in time where people were like, oh, are they just going to like run it back and overpay CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton because they're such good locker room presences? So do you just pay Trae and AD to fill up that cap space now on short-ish term deals before the Keyshawn Georges and the Trey Johnsons have to get their second contract? Like, you're kind of splitting the baby while your babies are learning how to crawl. And then when they're ready to run, that money will be off the books kind of deal.
Yeah.
I'm going Dumb and Dumber on this. I think there's a chance that it actually works out for everybody. Because I think the Wizards, they're not trying to be contenders, Tom. They're trying to be a play-in or a playoff team.
Like 500 sounds amazing to them.
They haven't
had
that
jumping in the ditch again. Yes,
in a long time. Like it might be a nicer ditch that you fall into this time.
Shout out Gilbert.
And then Trae and AD both want to get paid again. So at the end of the day, like they're gonna want to rehab their value to at least get another contract, whether it's from the Wizards or somebody else. And if the Wizards have them for a year or two, not counting this year because they're obviously not playing this year, but next year, and then they can flip them for more than they paid for them, which is absolutely nothing, I think that's a win.
Quick last Wizards football anecdote. At my Super Bowl watch party, one of my female homies from high school brought her new boyfriend. He interned for the Wizards in 2006.
Wow, the golden era.
He was a guy, you meet people in this walk of life who are like, oh yeah, I worked in sports. And you're like, yeah, sure you did, buddy. And then he did. And we were going down memory lane, talking about Tommy Shepard. It was nice.
Oh yeah.
What's my man that used to do the blog for the Washington Post? What's Stan's last name? I can't.
Steinberg.
Stan Steinberg. Dude, I used to read his shit every day. I was working for the Suns. I read his shit every day for all Wizard stuff because I was just fascinated that Ernie Grunfeld said, what if I just assembled the biggest crew of shitheads ever? Gilbert, Andre Blatch, and fucking JaVale McGee, and Nick Young, and all of them. Just all of them. Bring them all, put them on the same team, and just let them run loose. And then have like one adult in the room in Karan. And I guess Anton Jameson. Those 2 adults right there.
Shout out Karan.
Yeah. It is a remarkable time, those mid-2000s Washington Wizards teams. All right. Speaking of alleged shitheads, moments after the trade deadline, the Brooklyn Nets announce the waiver of Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
Look, I get it. Guys, hard to deal with behind the scenes. And apparently, obviously, he had a no-trade clause that might have complicated any prospective transaction. I guess let me start there. Were there any prospective transactions involving Cam Thomas that were complicated by either his no-trade veto or the Nets not being floored by the offers?
Not to my knowledge. To my knowledge, the only team that really had active, ongoing interest in Cam Thomas was Milwaukee. And to their standpoint, I believe they wanted to be compensated to take on Cam Thomas. Yeah. And why would they pay to acquire him if they had a pretty good sense that if they did waive him, they were going to be able to just sign him without sending out any draft capital. So I think that's kind of the insight I've got into that situation.
So that was my suspicion, is that anyone who would have been interested would be like, well, I could just wait. You're not going to keep him, right? So then my next thing is, if you're Sean Marks, is it not more advantageous for you to tell Cam Thomas, go home, you get your check?
They did. No. They kept him off the trip. They went to Orlando the day before.
Right. But to wait until the end of the year, he becomes unrestricted, yes, but you hold the leverage of saying, I can help you with a sign and trade. The idea that they just waived him and just let's be done with this. I'm struggling to conceptualize how big of an asshole he could be for that to be the solution.
All I'll say is I just think, it was time to go our separate ways.
So he was that big of an ass. Jesus, all right. I don't know, maybe.
He has as many 40-point games over the last few years as Kevin Durant.
He can get a bucket.
Kyrie, LeBron, more than Anthony Davis, more than Trae Young, Karl Towns, Kawhi, Markkanen, Jamal Murray. Guy can get buckets, and it's
the other thing is like the Nets are in such a situation where they're trying to build habits and tendencies and schemes stuff, and Cam Thomas is just not helping in that regard. So if you keep him around, I know what you're saying. I mean, let's like send him home and what have you.
Manage the asset.
But to me, it's simply just do not. You can come to the facility when we're not in the facility. That's what I'm talking. Like one of those.
Chris Paul.
And then at the end of the year, on some Chris Paul shit. And at the end of the year, I will do whatever I can to help you in a sign and trade to open up your possibilities.
But we saw with the restricted free agent market that there's been multiple times where basically they're like, if anybody wants Cam Thomas, give us a call.
Yeah. I will ask that question the next time someone on the other end of the phone has Brooklyn insight.
Yeah, because to me, as an unrestricted free agent, all those things that scare people away are gone, right? And as an unrestricted free agent, you basically have two options. One, I can sign with a team that has the cap space. Or two, I go to a team that doesn't have the cap space, but could work something out. And by getting waived, essentially that cuts off that other lane. He can't get signed and trade now because they don't have bird rights anymore. So now he's got to go to a team with cap space. Hell, in a way, Cam Thomas should be like, no, don't waive me. Don't waive me. Like, I'll be good. I'll be cool. Because
how about this? Cam Thomas getting to a Milwaukee situation where he can play and potentially prove that he has a bigger market. Maybe that is Brooklyn doing right by Cam Thomas in some respect. Think about that.
But at the end of the day, Milwaukee's going to be limited in what they can offer him, right? And then, so now you're...
Yeah, because now he's on a minimum.
And now he's on a minimum. And also, by the way, Milwaukee's awful. So
no, I mean, legends attract.
No, that's right.
This was the vision. I'll be honest.
Do you have any value in the prediction markets, Jake, as a prognosticator, trying to figure out where players are going and who are like viable landing spots? Do you ever check in on these as a fortune teller, or do you just keep your eyes closed, third eye closed on those?
I keep my third eyes closed. AI, prediction markets, gambling, I'm not involved. I've used ChatGPT one time. It was when that weird Spurs reporter, if you guys saw, made a graphic of my face that was like clearly combined with Steve Jobs. And it freaked me out. So I tried to...
not see this.
I vaguely remember this.
I'm Googling it right now.
Yeah.
So I tried to figure out, like, how does one do that? That's the only time I've ever used it. The prediction market stuff, I think, is terrible from like a gambling on election outcome thing, let alone sports stuff, insider trading, blah, blah, blah. The dystopic world we live in where all the Super Bowl commercials are basically AI or gambling.
I think you understand because everyone, if you're around the NBA enough, you realize how many people know things from lower level. Like, you think an athletic trainer knows things, like just people that are contracted to work at the arena, right?
Dude, that's my whole thing about, like, when there's like, oh, we're gonna change the reporting on what time you got to say the lineups and stuff. Like, you know how many people know this shit, man? It's not. These aren't state secrets. Like, some things, yes, and then some things are no. Oh, which leads me to my next thing. We didn't talk about this at all. The Utah Jazz are going to get reprimanded, right? They have to.
I mean, I don't think there's anything you can do.
The Anthony Davis thing was the precedent. Exactly. They didn't get reprimanded. The Scotty Barnes did it last year. They didn't get reprimanded.
If they play in a game and then the coach just decides they're not fit for that fourth quarter, I don't think there's anything the league can do.
But this is textbook.
It is
line manipulation, right? Like, if I'm DraftKings or FanDuel or any other Fanatics, the official betting houses of the NBA, I'm up Adam Silver's ass. Like, yo, man. Like, imagine a guy who had Jazz plus points against Orlando, and you're
maybe,
like going into the fourth quarter, like,
bet on Jazz Magic. How about that?
Yeah, that.
But that's not the league stance, right? The league stance is yes, we want you to have interest on Jazz Magic that you otherwise would not have had. But, like, that comes with a price. The price is you can't fuck around like that anymore.
I know.
But the idea is, if you're not wise to the fact that there's tanking incentives for the Jazz to sit Lauri Markkanen at the end, then maybe you shouldn't be betting if you don't actually understand how the NBA works.
I think.
But I understand your point, and I like that. There's an incomplete information there, that it's not an efficient market, and there's information based on the intentions of the head coach or the organization and their playing strategies that they're actually actively not trying to win that game. And they're going to pull guys without being forthright. It's one thing in the injury report, if it was like a designation, like in baseball, where today he's going to be our starting pitcher and we're only going to play him for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, we're going to bring in some people. We don't have that in the NBA.
To me, it's more honest to not play him at all.
I would agree with that.
It's more honest to say, hey, we're like, these people are like, oh, how can they just acquire Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and not play them for the rest of the year? I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Plus, those dudes have some kind of injury, even if it's not as severe as the timetable for return would be.
Sure. Like, but even without it, Mace, to be honest with you, even if they're like, yeah, we're shutting them down.
Load management, rest, whatever.
Wink, whatever. I think that's because then, for the gambling market, you can, okay, I'm going in eyes wide open on what's happening here, versus to play them, and then because the outcome is not what you wanted, to then adjust your strategy to influence the outcome to go against what I think all sports aspire to, which is, hey, we're trying to win this game.
All right. I know that I think it was John Skipper at Meadowlark where he said, like, I didn't believe in precedent. Like, if you come in, you're like, hey, but this person was treated this way. Shouldn't I get treated the same way? When I think about this, the Toronto Raptors did all of this last year. They acquired Brandon Ingram and they didn't play him with an ankle injury. Yeah. And then they also had Scotty Barnes, former All-Star Scotty Barnes, just sit fourth quarters. They held out. They had a rotation of RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, and I forget who Emmanuel Quickley. They just rested them every other day, and they had this rotating thing, and the NBA did nothing. So if I'm Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge and Ryan Smith, I'm saying, you can't go out here and say what we're doing is illegal when they were doing all this last year. Now, the other thing is, well, that was before these gambling scandals happened, and maybe the NBA is like, all right, that was last year. We're now coming out here and we're going to actually ticket you for going over the speed limit. Like, we are. Sorry. We're just going to have to do that. Jake, when the deal went down, Jaren Jackson Jr. deal went down, did you have the same thought as me? Is like, wait, how are they going to play this guy when their pick is top 8 protected?
Yeah, my first communication with someone in the league was, is Jaren Jackson going to get a toothache on the way flying to Salt Lake? That was definitely a thought. I do have to run, guys. Any parting shots here? Any final?
What's the sexy Detroit?
Yeah. Can you give us
trade and also
can you just show us a little skin, like a little, No.
If I get the sexy Detroit rumor confirmed, I will be writing about it on markstein.substack.com. That's really all I can say.
What about who lied to you?
Someone involved in the James Harden Darius Garland trade.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There we go. I'll take it.
What did James say? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jake Fischer, thank you so much from Bleacher Report, Steinline. Always great to have you as a truth teller, keeping your third eye open. Appreciate you, Jake.
Appreciate you guys.